Good medicine.
Good morning and welcome to Shamanic Sundays. Hi, Dad.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good today.
Excellent.
Yeah. We celebrated Kimberly's birthday yesterday, so I'm
Yes,
still
we
riding the high of being with her.
We did. Thank you for you and Mom again. Thank you for my life. Thank you all of friends and relatives who reached out with such sweet messages. And thanks to each of you for being here with us today. You are part of the web of which I am grateful for in my life. You all good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just getting cold.
Okay. So, hello, and as we always do, in the spirit of reciprocity, starting off with a prayer. So, you want to take the lead on that, Pops?
Yeah, I want to pick up this lighter and this piece of sage and push this button on here, and miraculously, some sunshine comes out of that and opens up the smoke there, and so purification from sage, gratitude to sage spirit and the medicine you carry and release to us here. Help us let go of what doesn't serve us, open to what does. With the breath that comes in of life from you, Great Spirit, thank you for this gift of life and human incarnation and the beautiful gifts of your creation, our ancestors and ancestor spirits of the land we live on. We remember you here, make a good home for you, honor you. Gratitude for our families and friends and spiritual community, and gratitude also for the button pushing reactivity triggering situations in our lives, although certainly not in our comfort zone or ego's desire or like zone, but that help us to see those places where there's constriction, there's tightness, there's still imprisonment and ego identification, cutting us off from accessing the deeper parts of who and what we really are, which is gifts of grace, infinite light, infinite love, and infinite peace and healing and beauty and creativity and everything we need, all the answers we need if we pay attention with humility and open with receptivity for guidance about how to meet our challenges, personal, individual, and in the world in ways that open the doorway to bring through fullest blossoming, greatest good. And may our joining today through Shamanic Sundays, hearts, minds, and spirits, soft belly, open heart, peaceful mind, open that doorway for healing light, love, peace to flow through us and polish us up, our stardust, to send it out into the world for healing of the who. Oh,
thank you. So we decided to bring in some sage medicine this morning because we got a question around when to use different plant medicines. So that's what we're going to be exploring today. And of course, I want to caveat this with we're talking plant medicines in regard to the shamanic and ceremonial practices that you have taught and been a leader in this space, opening channels to connect with plant wisdom for 55, 60 years or so. And so sharing this with you in ways that we hope can be of benefit. It feels particularly important to me as we watch this rising interest in psychedelic use, but also just so many. I know it's the circles that I move in, but you know, when I was a kid, it was very rare to go anywhere and be met with someone wanting to sage you before you began something, unless it was one of the indigenous, friends, relatives that we were working with. So now it's like so common. So I'm going to just start with this quote that I found actually from an American herbalist named Rosemary Gladstone that I thought it was really beautiful.
I know Rosemary.
Oh, you do? Of course
we go back to, we went to Peru. We were in Peru together in the 80s.
Oh, was that the time when you guys got stuck at the airport and
Yep,
almost didn't make it back?
Rosemary was there,
with the machine guns and all that. You want to tell us a quick story about that? It's just a good one.
I was leading a 2-week trip, a week or so in the Andes mountains in Peru, and then a week in the jungle in the Amazon. And when we hiked back out of the jungle to this little airport, this little jungle airport. It was a clearing in the jungle, and the runway for a plane, and like a metal tin shack, and then like a little one room place that was like the office for the airlines, and it was like a little square around it with a bar, a couple of bars, and little bamboo huts and stuff. Anyway, so when we came back out of the jungle to catch our plane to go back to Lima, the planes at all, there were no flights. There were no flights because this was in the 80s when the Sendero Luminoso, the Shining Path, rebels were doing violence throughout Peru against the fascist dictator, really, at the time, although the Sendero were also doing some pretty terrible things to people. Anyway, they'd blown up a nearby receiving station or something where all the communications went through, and so the airplanes couldn't fly. So we had to spend there was no place to sleep, so we ended up just sleeping on spending the night there. They said maybe tomorrow they'll get things fixed and we can bring a plane in here to get you guys out of here. So we slept on the tarmac, rats and lice and you name it, and dog pee and everything on that tarmac. It was a long night, but we finally did. Plane finally did arrive the next day. But meanwhile, other people had come from little settlements in the Amazon to try to catch a flight, and so they were all waiting in the main building. And fortunately, I had a contact there in Peru that had contacts with the government, so he called up the airport guy after I called him, and they put us in the small little. There was 10 or 12 of us, something like that, in this small little metal shed. Just nobody else could see us. And when the plane landed, then soldiers got out with machine guns and covered the whole area of the plane. And our instructions were, when the soldier gives you the signal when he comes out from the plane, he's going to give a subtle signal with his hands. When you see that, then have your backpacks on and just walk slowly out to the plane and exit the shed and start walking under the tarmac to the plane. Do not run, he said. Do not run. Walk calmly. Do not look back. Because as soon as we walked out, he gave us the signal. I said, okay, let's go. And we started walking out of the shed into the tarmac. Then the other people, which is now maybe 100 people, could see us, and they were behind a barbed wire fence. And so when they saw us coming, they started pushing against the fence with benches and stuff to try to burst through so they could get onto the plane. Because everybody was afraid the Sendero might blow up where we were. Mm-hmm. So we was trying to get out of there. So we started walking, and as we were walking, somehow the fence gave way, and then a horde of people, like a tidal wave, started rushing toward the plane behind us. Fortunately, we got to the plane just at the instant before the tidal wave hit us, and the last person got on board, and then they started bringing on. They had room. It was a small plane, so they had room for a small amount of people in the that had been in the main waiting area, but then they had to slam the door shut and push people off. There was kids on the plane, and they pushed the mother off, and the plane had to take off. So it was a pretty hairy time, and glad to be out of there, and grateful to the angels of protection.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh my gosh. Very grateful. I remember when you came home and me and Mom and Nicole hearing that story, and just, it was pretty scary. So
it was, as they say, a trip.
It was a trip, but apparently you were meant to survive, and Rosemary Gladstone was meant to survive.
Yes, that's right. Rosemary was part of that.
Because I found her quote, "The plants have enough spirit to transform our limited vision." The plants have enough spirit to transform our limited vision. And I definitely think that is true. And so calling in the plant spirits and thanking them for the many gifts they've already given us in our lives, including this morning, I had a bunch of spinach with my breakfast and some eggs that plants helped to feed the chickens that gave me those eggs. And so that beautiful circle.
Right.
But let's dig in to address the question we got. So sage, when do you use sage, and what's the history and why you use sage in ceremony purification?
Well, one of my first teachers, Oshna Fastwolf, Blessings on an ocean in the spirit world taught me about using sage. I think she might have been the first one back in the early 70s, yeah. And so she and other people that I spent time with, Rolling Thunder, and then on to other native people, use sage to help cleanse. It's like taking an energetic bath with the smoke. So you take the energy of that smoke in, and it helps go to those places where there's any energies that are not serving your health and well-being and peace of mind, and you just take that in there, take that smoke energy, spirit power down where it needs to go to cleanse, and helps you open and release and let go of what doesn't serve you in the moment. And it's always important to have an opening if you're doing it inside, like in our garage here, my spirit room. There's big openings. That's why I got a coat on, because it's freezing. There's no insulation in here. It's a garage. So that energy that you're cleaning out can be released and go out into the four winds and be carried away. And of course, it's always important, like in using any plant, to give thanks for its spirit and prayers for its people, for the sage people. And in fact, the white sage, which is the frequently one used in this area, California anyway, is threatened. It's being threatened right now in terms of people just mindlessly, because it's become a hip, cool thing or whatever for people to use sage. So a lot of people are using it without understanding the dynamics of a respectful, right relationship with the spirit of the plant. And so people go up into the hills and just dig up by the roots, so they can't regenerate just huge amounts of sage and come in and sell it and make money. Commercial capitalist venture. So, like many life forces on Mother Earth's body, being threatened because the asleep state that we're in, and therefore the need to wake up. And sage helps us to wake up. It helps us to see where the pipes are clogged or stuck or constricted, tight, and send that energy down in to release and open with faith and trust, let go what doesn't serve. And then there's more opening for the fresh energy coming in from spirit of life.
Yeah. So on that note, with every plant that we're talking about today, if you are like buying it somewhere or taking it from somewhere, to just always be remembering the reciprocity of where is it coming from? What are you giving in exchange? If you're purchasing it, are the suppliers harvesting and growing the plant in a respectful, regenerative, reciprocal, healing way that's good for the people, the plant, the earth, the soil, the full cycle. I was going to share also, just in terms of the power of sage and cleansing. About a year ago or so, I was about to go on a road trip, and I loaded my dog up into the car, and she was acting really weird. She didn't want to get in the car, and she got in. And then I was like, that's weird. My glove compartment was open, and my little visor where the sunglasses go was down. And I'm like, that's so strange. I don't usually leave all this open. I start driving. And my dog Mochi, who many of you have seen in the background on some of our shamanic Sundays, she's like going crazy, like she can't get settled and whining. So I'm like, maybe she has to go to the bathroom. So I pull over. She doesn't go to the bathroom, get back in the car. Same thing. She just is like so restless, can't settle down, whining and crying. So then I pull over at a gas station and figure I'll get some gas at the same time. I like walk her. She doesn't go to the bathroom, get her back in the car. And then I go to grab, I have like a little money bag in my glove compartment. I'm like, it's gone. And so are my sunglasses. And I realized my car was open and everything was open because someone had actually broken into my car. So that was shocking and upsetting. Fortunately, not too much was stolen. But then the interesting thing is then I got out my medicine bag and I purified the car. And like literally immediately after that, Mochi was totally calm. Like, so whatever that negative energy that had been in in my space, she was feeling it. And it was really quite amazing.
Good story.
Yeah, it was really good. So our four-legged relatives know the power of plant medicine too, for sure. So what about cornmeal?
Yeah, cornmeal, corn goddess, Nawitsika, is the giver for the Pueblo people and many other people. With the Huichol people, corn is a mainstay of their diet, and a lot of the ceremonies are to help throughout the year, are to help the corn grow, to give gratitude to great grandmother growth, to Kutsi Nakaway, who grows the corn um, and grows all life, great grandmother growth. Uh, and so when that corn matures and they harvest it, they make they grind the corn up, and they make this fantastic tortillas, and so good to get it. Some of them are blue corn tortillas. Oh my God, one of those tortillas will last you for a day or a week or something. So mucho kupuri, full of good energy, they would say. Anyway, so when it's ground up and into a powdery form, then it can be used to as a giveaway for when you are taking a plant life. You've asked its permission, and then you said, what do you give back in return? So one of the things you can give back is cornmeal or clean tobacco that's been purified, as a means of saying thank you to the spirit of that plant, of the corn, and prayers for the family of the corn people, and that
Oh, sorry,
can
just
also
got some
use.
double.
You can parallel universe impeding into our universe. Behave yourself. Maintain those boundaries here. Come on, show some respect. Anyway, so using cornmeal powder for energized with energy from Tatuwari, fire spirit, Father Sun. Use that for protection also, like we're doing ceremonies. You want to put a circle of protection or call on that. Put a protection around your car, or energetically around an airplane or whatever you're traveling in, or a person or a place. You can use that to create the circle of protection energy, calling in for me, are the angels of protection to create safe space for that person or people or group or ceremony or means of travel or whatever the case may be. So gratitude to the Corn Mother, Goddess, and the Kutsinakawe that grows all plants and grows us.
Oh, thank you. I just got a message from one of our relatives about the chat not working, and it seems to be working for Facebook today, but not with YouTube. So that was that audio interruption you heard as I was going over to check that on YouTube, but then you hear us double talking. So, so we see you on here. We just can't connect with you on our chats right now, but we'll check the chats when we are close the live stream. But we see that you are here, and thank you everybody for being here with us. And okay, so sage, cornmeal. Let's talk about tobacco, because the first thing that comes to mind for many in the dominant culture, Eurocentric culture today, we think of tobacco and cigarettes and unhealthiness, poison. So what's a good way to be, and what's the power of tobacco and being in good relationship with tobacco?
Yeah, it's interesting because when I was a teenager, I tried smoking tobacco because I was trying to be a tough guy, feeling so insecure. I was trying to be a tough guy, and the tough guys and the cool guys smoked cigarettes. So I tried it, but I'd had asthma, as a life-threatening asthma as a kid. By the time I was a teenager, I'd grown out of it, but still my lungs were, when I tried to take in that tobacco, first of all, I couldn't inhale. And then if I did inhale, I'd have these coughing fits, and my lungs would really powerfully reject this substance. So I think I was 14, I stopped trying to smoke cigarettes. And yeah, so how many years later, 8 years later, whatever it is, and I get involved with Native American people, and I see there's a great use of tobacco in the ceremonies. Sometimes smoking it, and sometimes giving the tobacco to the fire or the earth or the directions or whatever. And so when I was introduced to ceremony where it was up to me to smoke, to do my part, to be respectful in the ceremony, to smoke, I had those concerns about health, cancer, and God, what's going on here? And I was told by, I think it was Rolling Thunder who first told me that tobacco, the tobacco spirit is like one of the first medicines given to the people. It's one of the most powerful medicines. It's mind-altering medicine. And like any power, it can be used or abused. So if you use tobacco, he said, only with prayers and respectfully and gratitude to its spirits, you will be fine. If you don't show that respect to tobacco and you just smoke it mindlessly, its power will come out and bite you in some way. So I've been using tobacco for almost over half a century now, in always for prayer, for thanksgiving, for extending gratitude, or for sending some focused, really intense, powerful energy beam to somebody who's in need of healing or has asked for prayers for some situation. But I never smoke it, you might say, socially or recreationally, always respectfully. So I think that's that dynamic of, don't be so quick to judge something by the outer cover of it, so to speak, people or plants or situations, whatever, but be respectful of mystery, working on a deeper level, and the dynamics, like you speak about, a right relationship. It's possible to use different substances, food, mind-altering substances, all kinds of things. Just about anything you could think of that might be good on one level. If you take it past a certain point, then it'll become destructive. It can be hurtful. And if you enter into it, and if you're working with a plant, and you don't acknowledge and give thanks for the spirit of that plant, coffee, sugar, tobacco, cinnamon, whatever, you're being in a disrespectful relationship to that plant and spirit. So. I think I'm getting some agreement from the four-leggeds. Yes, thank you, Mochi.
Back here. She wants me to be on the ground with her, cuddling. I want to go back to what you were just saying about listing all these different plants. One thing, as we're talking about, like engaging with different plant medicines, like I just think it's so powerful as you go through your day, starting to just be aware of how many different ways that we do engage with plants. Like, I mean, literally starting with your first breath in the morning, right? Like you wouldn't have that oxygen to take in if the plant and tree spirits hadn't given you that air. And then our breath helps feed them. And so that beautiful cycle right from there. And the clothes you're wearing, like what relationship do the textiles you're wearing, and how were those grown? Is the cotton that you're wearing, was it made using pesticides? And then how do those pesticides go into the water? And what are you drinking and eating? And what foods are you eating? Even if you opened it from a package, what relationship, where did that paper come from? What were the ingredients? And just like the many ways that we engage with plants, like we're talking about just sort of the kind of quote unquote smaller uses of engaging. I don't know if smaller is the word, the more everyday practices of engaging with plant medicine, and hence the sage, tobacco, corn conversation. But that I just wanted to throw in there, just the abundance of ways that we do, and what can shift in our levels of gratitude and the cycles of growing and giving and being together in relationship with plants as we become more aware of that. So just had to.
It reminds me of that saying, one of my many, many sayings that I repeat so frequently to myself. Grace grows where gratitude flows. There you go, Mochi. Grace grows. I'm telling you, she's agreeing with me.
I think she just broke my bracelet. Sorry, you guys. I might have to take her outside. Dad, can you talk? So what other like plant medicines are you seeing more of a use of in more commonly used nowadays? Excuse me for 1 second, folks.
Well, certainly the popularity of mushrooms, Tionanacatl, the Mazatec term for the sacred mushrooms, and Mother Ayahuasca, spreading around the world in the last 20 some odd years or so, increasing the mainstream acceptance, even though still illegal in many areas. That's spreading around the world. And I think the reason for that is especially with with both plants, is to they're gifts from Mother Earth to try to help us two-leggeds wake up to our interconnectivity with the web of life, with the plants, with the source of life, with the source of all creation. And that when we treat any aspect of creation in a disrespectful way, that creates that creates problems. Let's put it that way, because we're going against the nature of the universe in which everything's connected. So, if arbitrarily, because of our unconscious cultural conditioning, we erroneously believe in the perception of separation, then there's some things we can treat with respect, and some things we can't. The things we like and in our comfort zone and give us pleasure and improve our lives we like, and we'll treat them with respect. But anything that we perceive as other than that, we or have no connection with. So like we can dump wastes in the ocean, nuclear waste in the ocean, barrels of nuclear waste miles deep in the ocean because it's far away. It has nothing to do with us, but oops, eventually it leaks and it goes into the waters and the fish, and we eat the fish. Our children eat the fish. All of a sudden we're sick. So the wisdom of enriching our life by remembering that grace grows through gratitude. If you want to have more grace in your life, more enrichment of your life, more empowerment, more juiciness to your life, the more you can find, the more and I don't think I'm alone in this regard, we find opportunity to give thanks for something that we're experiencing, such as food we're taking in, which comes from plants or from animals, or food, plants, substance that we're taking in through our daily coffee or our tea. Whatever comes from animals, whatever, taken in water to mix your foods with. We didn't create the water. All of it gifts of creation. So these things that we do every day, just brushing our teeth, we use water from the tap. So how often when you brush your teeth, you just, as you're doing it, just think about or reflect on, thank you for this gift of water. Thank you, water spirits, Mother Ocean, rain spirits. Drinking that cup of coffee, give thanks to the spirit of the coffee. Pray for its family, for the tea family people, the spirits. Give thanks. So, if you want to enrich your life, remember grace grows where gratitude flows. And every time you put a plant substance in your mouth or anything in your mouth, think about where it came from, the source, and give thanks for it from your heart. And you'll be spending more time of your day in gratitude. Oh,
yeah. We also did another Shamanic Sundays a few months ago on who should do plant medicine. And that was more in regard to like psychoactive, psychedelic plant medicine ceremonies. So I'll put a link to that in the show notes. For today, Dad, could you lead us in just a short just visualization of opening up our hearts and our minds to connect with, give thanks for the plants that we may connect with in the coming week?
Well, you've opened the doorway with what you just said, bringing our awareness down to our hearts, breathing down into our hearts, opening our hearts, noticing that we have a choice. We can keep our hearts closed, constricted, and tight if we want, experience the consequences of that, or we can bring awareness into letting go of constriction and tightness and soften. Soft belly, open heart, peaceful mind, and just allow awareness to come into your mind of the plants you use in a day, food, substances. Just take a moment and review your day and see what plant substances you use in the day. And from your heart, strengthen with each new clean breath in, softening, opening, and connecting with that healing light and love, and polishing it up and strengthening its vibratory power. Send out gratitude from your heart to the spirit of that plant, those plants that you need in the day, that you use in the day. Breathing in, sending out beams of gratitude energy to that coffee spirit, the tea spirit, whatever it is. Gratitude. and being mindful of the invisible power that the Huichol people, the Washariko people call great grandmother growth, the Kutsi knock away, the invisible growth power in Mother Earth and in the universe, in the cosmos, and in us, always seeking to grow those seeds of potential to highest realization, highest, fullest blossoming, greatest good blossoming when we listen to the signals from within about how to be in harmony and balance, respectful, humble, attentive, balance to the wisdom guidance coming from the cosmos in us and through us about how to be in relationship to whatever's happening in a way that has the potential to open that doorway, bring through fullest blossoming, greatest good, and we all make a difference in so doing. And this is the day we're given to do that doing. Oh, Umbrios.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, plant people out there, for inviting us to share the journey with you. And thank you all for being here again today. Remember to share this with folks in your life that you think may benefit from it. And we hope you benefit from it wherever you're listening and connecting with us from when you do join us. Kind of lost my train of thought there.
We've lost it into the mystery.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all again. Thanks for being here. And we'll see you next Sunday, and we'll be responding to the chats after today ends.
Bye,
Talk to
con
you
Dios.
soon. All right.
Oh.
Take care, everybody. Bye.